So I'm excited to bring this to you tonight. The dollar amount for this project is quite high compared to planning activities that we typically see. And I will say that the multi-benefits we expect to result from the project are commensurate with that high dollar amount. I'll give you a little bit of background. The city issued a request for qualifications back in February of this year to identify a contractor to do this project, which involves school safety review studies at each of the 8 elementary and middle schools across Carson City. In response to the RFQ, we did receive 4 proposals. Staff evaluated the proposals and ranked them using the evaluation criteria in the RFQ. Headway Transportation with subconsultants, Alta Planning, and Angst Imaging were determined to be the most qualified consultant firm. They were let know that they were selected, and staff entered into cost negotiations for them. It was very quickly determined that staff's aspirations for the project far exceeded our available budget to conduct the studies. The budget for the Safe Routes to School grant has exceeded our ability to spend it, and this is in part due to recurring vacancies of the bicycle and pedestrian coordinator, as well as we have not filled all the part-time Safe Routes to School champions positions. We just haven't had the need to date. So those cost savings have allowed a funding shift. We did receive approval from NDOT for that funding shift, and that approval letter is provided in the packet Exhibit 1. Buried in that Exhibit 1 is all the background, including my letter to NDOT requesting the shift, the justification for the shift, and the job description for the bicycle pedestrian coordinator, et cetera. So that's all in there, and I'm happy to answer questions about that as well. The Safe Routes to School program is reimbursable at a rate of 95%. For this grant, there's a 5% in-kind match requirement. This is generally covered by administrative time to process the reimbursement requests, as well as the cost of the office, the air conditioning, the lights, et cetera, for the Safe Routes to School coordinator. And we have exceeded our in-kind match, so the action tonight, it's covered by the existing grant. Details about the scope of the project are provided most clearly starting on packet page number 185. So there is a substantial data collection component. There are assessment studies for each of the 8 schools in Carson City. There's a substantial digitization and GIS mapping piece of the results of the analysis, and then there's prioritized implementation reports. The benefits of all this are to the Carson City School District, are to the Nevada Safe Routes to School program administered by Nevada DOT, as well as to RTC. This program has shifted from the health department back in 2017, where the focus was on healthy kids, getting kids to school in a healthy and active manner. And now it's in Public Works, where we build infrastructure, right? We build safe routes to school. So the outcome of this project will be a set of reports that prioritizes those necessary infrastructure improvements and gives us a long-term plan that can be used to go out and seek competitive grant funding to fund these improvements. It contributes to our ADA transition plan. It contributes to our active transportation component of CAMPO's regional transportation plan, and I'm really excited about this. So that said, if approved tonight, the project is expected to start right away and should be done by next spring. A representative from Headway Transportation is here, and he can answer questions if you have any, and I am available to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Questions from the commissioners? Chaz?
Let me start by saying I think this is an excellent thing to do, and I really support that. And given the scope, I think the price is reasonable. I did notice, though, in the information packet that was provided here, there was a proposal, and I know it's not an agenda item here, and we're not voting on that here, but it is going to the Board of Supervisors tomorrow to change the bike and pedestrian coordinator position to a transportation planner / analyst, excuse me, position. And what the concern I have about that is when I read the description for the reclassified position, it does not mention bicycles or pedestrians at all. It's just a transportation planner duties. And so, on the face of it, that appears that we're,
Commissioner McGuire.
yes, sir.
I have to jump in at this point and just let you and Chairman Bonkowski know that this is a little bit off topic. The question of whether or not to reclassify the position and change the name is something for the Board of Supervisors tomorrow, and it's not really within the scope of this agenda item or the RTC's powers today. So it's a little bit off topic.
So you're telling me I need to show up tomorrow, huh? Okay.
Tomorrow's agenda item with the Board of Supervisors would be the correct time and location to raise your concerns about that.
That said, if I may, I will add that the change in job description, is included to be fully transparent. The assignment of that employee will not change as a result of the title change. That employee will be 100% grant funded by the Safe Routes to School grant, will continue to manage all Safe Routes activities, and will be the manager of this project once they're brought on. So that is the intent.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions on the contract? Seeing none, I'll open this up to public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? I see no public comment, so I will bring this item back to the commission and entertain a motion.
I move to award the contract as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. So the vote is 4-0 with one abstention. All right. We are now on item 7, internal communications and administrative matters, non-action items. 7A, transportation manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As part of the budgeting for fiscal year 20, you are, I believe, all aware that we received approval to bring on a transportation traffic engineer. Interviews have been conducted and an applicant has been selected. We hope to get that applicant on board with the team in the next couple of weeks. So you should start seeing a new face here at the RTC meetings, if not in September, certainly in October. That is my sole update for this evening.
Any questions on that? All right, let's move on to 7B, street operations activity report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, comments short this evening. On item 7B, just a reminder, we have a delay. So the information provided tonight is for June. There were no activities out of the typical street operations. We do summer activities. You'll see pavement markings, concrete flat work, those types of things. Happy to answer any questions. And our streets ops manager, Rick Cooley, was here earlier, but he is getting more engaged in RTC, and he's very supportive of all these discussions as well. Thank you.
Any questions on the street operations activity report? All right, moving on to 7C, project status report.
Chair, I'll take this one tonight. Give Lucia a break. So I'll go through the projects. Might skip ones that we discussed heavily tonight, but if you want to stop me, feel free. First project is South Carson, so we'll move on from that one to the freeway multi-use path to Colorado Street. We got comments back from NDOT on our 90% plans. We are addressing those, and we are looking forward to a notice to proceed in August or September. Moving on to the next project, which is Fairview Drive reconstruction project. We have submitted 100% plans to NDOT, which was exciting. Again, we also anticipate a notice to proceed in August or September, which is right when the NDOT closes for the federal fiscal year, which begins October 1st. Yeah.
This one's planning for construction in September of 2020. Is this going to interfere with the plan we saw earlier for people to use route to Fairview?
We are coordinating these two
Oh,
projects
wait a minute.
very carefully, and that's why this one's actually going to go out at a similar time as South Carson, so that we can ensure that coordination.
Okay.
Good question.
Yikes.
Kings Canyon Road, Kings Canyon Trailhead Improvement and Roadway Reconstruction, nothing new to report, 75% plan still anticipated for December. Stewart Street Pedestrian Signal Project, as we noted last month, it is completed except for power. I've heard rumors that we should be expecting power this week, but I have not confirmed that yet. Moving on to the CDBG College Parkway Improvement Project, we discussed that, so unless there's any questions, I'm going to move on. Freeway multi-use path to the Edmond Sports Complex. We have executed a signed agreement with NDOT, and we are awaiting a notice to proceed, and this will allow us to kick off design on that project. Airport Road Sewer Replacement Project. We have got comments on our 90% design plans that were submitted in July. Again, we are anticipating a notice to proceed in late August or early September. Fiscal year 2019 District 1 pavement preservation projects. Construction has begun. This includes a number of projects, but we are anticipating a completion date by about August 30th.
I have a question on that one, on College Parkway. How long before they get a street sweeper out there?
I appreciate you asking that question. We discussed it earlier this afternoon, and I'm told the street sweeper went out today.
Okay.
So we're addressing those safety concerns immediately.
It wasn't out there as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. Okay, sure. They waited for
between
me
then
to
and
drive
now.
over the road with all the loose gravel. Okay.
Next project is the fiscal year 2019 District 1 Gonai Road Reconstruction Project. This one, I'm happy to report, is completed. Moving on to fiscal year 2019 District 1 street lighting. This is where we were working with NV Energy to add street lights. The project is planned to post for bids in August. The next one is the fiscal year 2019 District 1 pavement preservation projects, which we are moving forward with despite the delay in the CDBG project. And so this one will be completed by August 30th. Clearview Drive micro surfacing project. Again, this one has begun as part of a group of surface seals, and this one will be completed on August 30th. Root Street Rehabilitation Project. This is a project that's being funded with the VNT funds. Soil testing has been completed. We'll be evaluating that internally. We are moving on to the review of right-of-way to see what kind of design constraints we might have. That concludes my comments, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on the project status report? All right, moving on to 7D, future agenda items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned earlier this evening, staff are meeting with our Citizens Advisory Group Traffic on August 26th, which is a Monday, from 4 to 6 p.m. here in the Community Center Sierra Room. All of the public and anyone that's interested is invited to attend. At that meeting, we'll be discussing the Performance District 2 projects under consideration, and then we will bring those projects and any comments or feedback we receive back here to RTC in September. We will also bring back an informational item regarding comments we received from RAC, RTC, and the Board of Supervisors on the South Carson 90% design. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on future agenda items or additional future agenda items from members of the commission? Okay. Agenda item 8, board comments. Are there any board comments from any of the commissioners? Mark, go ahead.
I have one that was actually tried to be addressed earlier, and it's just a comment and maybe discussion later in the future for an agenda item. But I was disappointed with the new job description for Safe Routes to School, so I would have liked to have had it come to this board, but it's a personnel matter. And why would it come to this board? I'm not sure we can address it tonight, but it's just a comment from me that it would have been nice for us to visit that, because I think it's kind of under our purview to deal with safe routes to school, but maybe it's not. That would be discussion for the Board of Supervisors. So it's just a comment, a little disappointed, and that, but there's an opportunity maybe tomorrow if I can work that out. Thank you.
Question for you, and I know I've talked about this before, I think. So over there, where Topsy hits Center and Racetrack, is that Douglas County or is that? The reason I ask is if you're coming toward, from the Lennar development toward 395, the sight distance on Center is awful. And it's a two-way, right? So Racetrack and Topsy have the stop signs and Center's through. That, I think, should really be a four-way stop. So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. What's that?
I was going to say. They already looked at it because I sent that in, I don't know, a while back and said it wasn't warranted.
It's Carson City roadway south of that intersection for a stretch. North of the intersection on Center is Douglas County's, and it's Douglas County's on Topsy as well. Racetrack going east of Center is Carson City's. There's fences along the Lennar development. They meet Carson City code for sight distance, and so that was permitted to meet Carson City code. Staff have made the recommendation and discussed with Douglas County that a stop sign may be warranted there. However, the decision to put a four-way stop on that portion of Center is the decision of the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners.
Well, all righty then.
Yeah, I've also had some comments from the public regarding that intersection, and, I had to tell them that you have to determine what portion of the intersection, part of it's Carson City, part of it's Douglas County. It's a difficult area. Yeah, that's a tough one. Chaz.
Am I allowed to comment?
When it starts with, am I allowed to?
I will show up tomorrow at the Board of Supervisors, but my concern is that the new description does not mention anything about bikes and pets, and I think that is important that it do, because the perception is that we're not giving, full weight that the bike and ped position deserves. So that's my comment.
Thank you for your comments, and since there's two members of the board here, I'm sure that we can bring your comments up during the board meeting when we discuss this tomorrow. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled after the CAMPO meeting on Wednesday, September 11th, 2019, right here in this room. It's time for final public comment, and if we had any public left,
Warm down.
they could comment at this time.
Come on, Darren.
So since there is no public here, I'm not thinking we're going to get any public comment. So we're now on agenda item 11 for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
So moved. We are adjourned. Thank you.